And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the Land, part of the Land Multimedia Group. I am Ethan Greenberg, along with my co-host Mike Pellegrini. Drew Hagenbaugh, he's enjoying the beach life, the sunny, or I don't know, nice weather of South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. And joining us tonight, special guest, our friend Megan Donovan. Megan, how are you tonight?
Doing good, doing good.
Yeah, it is certainly. I just was thinking as the intro music was playing and all the drama, and certainly the past, I don't know, since Saturday, since the game, there's been a lot of drama, additional drama around the Cleveland Browns, even more than possibly usual, if that's even a possibility. I just didn't think it was possible. Um, Today we found out that for week one of this season, when the Browns visit Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars, that Deshaun Watson will be quarterback one. Shedeur Sanders will be quarterback two. I wanted to actually start on a different note here, guys, because I think we would be remiss if we didn't even discuss this or didn't mention this. On Friday night, out of nowhere, seemingly, we get the announcement that drops that Nick Chubb is going to be is retiring. And I just wanted to kind of first of all get your thoughts on that. I mean, Megan, when you saw that news, just were you shocked? What was the initial reaction? You obviously saw a lot of his fine work in the
Yeah,
brown and
right,
orange.
right. I mean, I was a little shocked, but I kind of watching him last season with Houston. You could tell it wasn't the same Nick Chubb, obviously, that we were all used to, and I don't think a person to the extent of his injury would ever be the same. But once I think I even asked you a couple weeks ago. I said, "Hey, is Nick Chubb is he playing anywhere? Like, or is he anywhere?" And we both kind of like looked it up, and he wasn't. So when the announcement came out, I was just like, "Oh man," I was bummed out. You hate to see it for such a guy that did so much for this team.
He really did. Just he was an all team guy. I know they mentioned this on the radio, and I didn't even necessarily think about it. There was a game where the Browns had the ball, and he could have scored a touchdown, but he rightfully went down or out of bounds, knowing, hey, if I do this, it's a first down. We run the clock out.
Yeah,
And it was kind of crazy because we had that situation in week two of against the Jets when he goes in and scores. We're up 13. Of course, we missed the extra point. We're up 13 and somehow managed to pull off a caper there and lose that game to the Jets in week two to Joe Flacco. That was kind of fun, how that came all full circle there. But Mike, what did you, when you saw the news? I mean, I know that I was in the midst of doing another podcast, and I was like, actually, Megan, you texted me. I'm like, what? And I'm looking all over the place, and I'm wondering, and this is crazy. I mean, but Mike, what do you think when you first heard or saw the Nick Chubb news?
Yeah, I texted you in the group chat as well about it, but
Right.
yeah, just wasn't very unsurprised, to be honest, because like we said already, he hadn't been picked up by another team, and he just wasn't the same guy that we saw in Cleveland after the injury. So it's just a shame, really, because like Nick Chubb's one of my favorite players to ever play for the Browns. So
Yeah, it's been tough. One, I if we want to blame somebody for shortening his career, it's okay. We can blame Nick Carnes. I mean, he's the one who was coming on there and just saying a few days ago, you know who the Browns could pick up? Nick Chubb. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, Nick Carnes opens himself up to a lot of grief every time he roots for a guy. Something bad happens.
can you
I'm like,
start? Can you start rooting for Watson?
we'll get to that, and that's a possibility. I've urged him to do that, but so far no good. So far no good there.
Do we think Chubb's going to get his 1-day contract to retire as a Brown?
Mike, you're reading my mind and my notes without me sending them to you. I don't know. Is that possible? Do you guys see it as a possibility? Megan, I don't know if you've seen this with other players maybe throughout the years, and I don't know how all that works to sign a 1-day contract to retire as a Brown. Is that something
yeah. I
that's
mean,
possible?
I would hope so. I don't know the type of relationship he has with the Brown. I mean, we don't know. Like I don't know if things ended poorly between the two of them or what. But I would love that. Would be great. And I know during the game, I don't. You probably couldn't see because you didn't have uh the local station on, but Channel 5 was like interviewing they were interviewing JW or whatever.
Oh, in the
Yeah,
pregame.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't have the pregame. I
right.
saw
And
like a picture of
he
it, but
was
no,
kind of talking about it, and he was like, "Hey, Nick, we'd love to have you, have you back and come, and something, something along the lines of like, hey, like we'd love you to like retire as a Brown or whatever." So
absolutely. He is one of those guys who definitely, and I think they all said this after he retired, that he announced his retirement. He's going to be up in the Ring of Honor at this stadium and the new stadium. And I mean, for what it's worth, just to kind of put give people some perspective here, as we're all adults, as I'm bringing my son up, good for better or worse. He's become a Browns fan, a big Browns fan, and his three favorite players are Chubb, Garrett, Ward, and obviously Garrett gets traded, and I felt kind of bad breaking that, giving him that news, and when that happened this summer, and certainly with Chubb, we watched the injury. I remember when that game was on, we were sitting. I don't know why. I know it was a Monday night game, but we were sitting and eating a really late dinner, and we're all at the table, and that happened, and I mean, it was just crazy. But obviously, Nick came back from that. I mean, he's just
yeah,
it's a miracle what that guy could do, and his work ethic. I feel awful that he didn't get to accomplish. I think he said it in his notes that he didn't get to accomplish all the things he really wanted to. I I certainly would hope that in his mind, that doesn't take away from everything he did accomplish. He was soft spoken, at least outwardly, that we know about. We don't. I have no idea what he was like in the locker room, but I feel like he is a I lead by example kind of guy. He's not the kind of guy who uh, was being flashy or flamboyant. He took care of business, and maybe that's why I liked him so much. Is you find and other people said this, so I'm not going to be the first one to say it, but he would find the end zone, give the ball to the ref, and move on.
hmm
Act like you've been there before. I don't know. I mean, Mike, in all your years of watching the NFL,
Yeah.
do you appreciate the workmanlike mentality, or do you appreciate some of the guys and their flair and the dancing and the hoopla and Greg Newsome buckling up and him and Denzel dancing around like fools after they make one play because Jim Schwartz wanted them to celebrate?
Oh, I actually prefer the kind of Nick Chubb kind of characters, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I can't dance, so maybe that's why I appreciate him. I mean, Megan,
But then again, my top three favorite Browns from last season were from the last few seasons were Chubb, Denzel Ward, and then Njoku. And Njoku loved a bit of a celebration. So
he did. Well, he kind of he was a one trick pony, but he did it well. He did it well. Have you guys noticed? I don't know if you've looked at the box scores. I don't think he's played yet for the Chargers in the preseason. I don't see him listed as injured, but I didn't see him listed at all. Maybe he just never wasn't a target in the plays, and I
have no idea.
I have no idea. But I mean, if you had to, where do you think he fits in the Browns? I don't know the lengthy history of the Browns. I mean, obviously, we're talking for most people, it's thinking the modern era, '99 to the present, but certainly, we've had our running back greats all the way back to Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly and so on and so forth. Marion Motley and trying to think, obviously, Kevin Mack, Ernest Biner, et cetera. So where do you think he kind of fits there, Megan?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, I think he's up there. I think he's above I think it's like between him and Jim Brown, if you think about it. I just think the consecutive seasons that he had over 1,000 yards rushing. I think the yards after contact that he would get was just insane. I mean, I think didn't he lead the NFL in that for one season. He had to have.
Yeah, I'll have to look at the stats, but yeah,
just like crazy, like first like handoff yardage of like the stats are just crazy. Let alone,
well, think about his first game.
and you got to think of that one season where he was out like half a season. Remember, he got injured in Atlanta. I think he got an MCL sprain.
Okay,
he was out for like 5 or 6 games, and he still hit over 1,000 yards.
Oh, I'd have to look back at that.
Yeah, it was the year after COVID, I think.
Okay.
Maybe before, but it was he got hurt. He got injured in Atlanta, and
I think I remember that game in Atlanta because they ran all over us.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
2020, because he played 12 games, got 1,067 yards.
That must be it. That's got to be it. That's absolutely crazy. In that game.
So, you're just like, and he was just like, he was the most unselfish player on the team. I mean,
absolutely.
Just like,
it's kind of crazy because when you compare him to the other big stars,
right?
This guy was the most mild-mannered player that you saw there, which was so refreshing. I heard people, and maybe, actually, I shouldn't even say that I heard. I think it was a discussion on the podcast I was on Friday, but there was talk about people and what they wear to enter the stadium. And my mentality is I'm just an old fart, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, why? I don't get this. Why are we shooting the cameras to see and everyone's dressing up like they're on they're a fashion model? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way. Mike, I know you love some good fashion show. You're a big fan there, right? You like the crop top?
To be honest, I'm the complete opposite to that.
You like the shirt. You like the Dave. Look,
these guys wear going to the game.
Mike, I think you like the David Njoku shirtless look is what you really like.
That's just the best way to go, isn't
it? It's tarps off.
He doesn't care about the weather. Njoku, like
that guy was crazy. How did he? And he played after he caught himself on fire.
Burned his whole face off.
Now that is just, and you think about that game.
He like balled out that game, didn't he?
Well, he was about the only one. What's that, Mike?
Didn't he get like 2 touchdowns in that game?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the game. That was the game where DTR played. It was the first game against the Ravens when 30 minutes before the game, apparently, and this will be kind of a good segue a little bit. Apparently, there was question all week as to whether Deshaun Watson was going to be able to play. Apparently, the reports were coming out. I'm going to be able to play. I'm going to be able to play. And then 30 minutes before the game or thereabouts, we come to find out, and I say we, the public. I don't know about in the locker room. I don't know any of that stuff. Come to find out, Deshaun is not going to play, and it's going to be rookie DTR. Poor DTR has to go out against the Ravens. Yeah. So, keeping all of that in mind, as the Browns embark upon this upcoming campaign, they're coming off of a 5-win season where, once again, we ended up with, did we only have 3 quarterbacks start for us last year? Just Joe, Dylan, and Shedeur? I don't think anyone else started. Yeah. But we went into camp with 4 quarterbacks last year. First, we had made a trade DTR over to Philadelphia, and then we gave up maybe a 5th to get Kenny Pickett. And then ultimately we flipped him to the Raiders. And I think we got our 5th round back. Then they go out and they call Joe Flacco back up after we had let him leave. And that's a whole other discussion there. Because obviously he came in relief after Deshaun Watson gets injured in Baltimore in that 2023 season. That was 23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he leaves. They need they're putting the Band-Aid on with PJ Walker, and as Gerard Cherry likes to say, I think it's Gerard and Emmett will say, he's like threw the ball into that defensive meeting to San Francisco after Kevin told him to slide, or just don't throw it, slide. If you don't have anything, slide. And he decides to throw it into a defensive team meeting. Fortunately, that's why they play defense and they didn't catch it. And then thankfully, our Michigan friend, was it Jake Moody, who missed the field goal to end the game, and the Browns got a miracle win. But sheesh, I'm losing track of my own thoughts here. Tell me where I was going with this. I don't even know. So the Browns, they started out with 4 quarterbacks last year on the roster. It ends up being Joe Flacco starts. Then they turned it over to Dylan Gabriel when they went to London. And we talked to Zach Jackson. And Zach said he had learned about it while he was on the plane to London. And it hadn't been announced yet. And he's like trying to go through. Megan, you might appreciate this. He has a wall in his office. It's much like what you have behind you, but he's got a bunch of cards. He's got a card for every quarterback that has started for the Browns since '99.
Oh, really?
And he's going through his mind trying to figure out for his article for The Athletic if any of the quarterbacks have been left-handed. And sure enough, there had. Anyway, Dylan Gabriel takes over, and actually probably his best game was that game in London against the Vikings, and he left the field with a lead, but the defense couldn't make the critical stop, and Carson Wentz managed to drive down the field, and unfortunately the Browns lose. And then he ends up getting he got a concussion, and it was so because he came back, he played in the Pittsburgh game, and then in the Baltimore game at home, he gets, I believe is when he gets a concussion, and Shedeur comes in relief. He almost made a heck of a play. I think did he throw it to Gage Larvidan in that game and it got knocked away in the end zone?
I can't remember.
I know he made a great pass. It was on the money. Defender made a good play on it. But the next week, Shedeur starts in Las Vegas. They win, and the rest is history. And he closes out the season ultimately helping the Browns win the last 2 games and kind of leaving on in a Costanza-like way. He leaves on a high note. To lead the Browns down the field in Cincinnati for a game-winning field goal as time expires, which was kind of the complete opposite of how the season started. The opener against the Bengals, where Andre Schmidt was the kicker all season long, but he missed an extra point, missed a field goal. But it was a good ending. Fast forward. And actually, in the midst of all that, and I apologize, folks, for the long history because it just took a little while wanted to set the stage. All the while, Deshaun Watson is still in the background, and he's working out in the rehabbing in Berea in the facility from not one, but 2 ruptured Achilles. The first one happening on the field against the Bengals. And again, I believe that was in the same game that Nick Chubb returned and scored a couple touchdowns, which was great after he was coming back after that injury that in Pukesburg. And we didn't know, I guess they decided not to activate him. That was the big news. So we go to the off season. They fire Kevin Stefanski is relieved of his duties. Andrew Berry is sticking around. No more Kevin Stefanski. Earlier in the year, Paul DePodesta leaves and is ruining the Rockies. So he's doing an excellent job out there. Thank you. We needed that sweep. The Guardians did. And we go into the spring after hiring Todd Monken after a seemingly lengthy coaching search. Where we were thinking it was going to be a young person like Grant Udinsky, possibly Nathan Shieldhouse. We ended up going with a little bit older feller and Todd Monken, who had been here in 2019, the OC under Freddie Kitchens. Did you ever get a chance? I might have asked you this, Megan. Did you get a chance to meet Todd at all when he was here under Freddie?
I never did. No.
Okay. I mean, that seems like that was some crazy times over there. I mean, the stories that it appears that come out about old Freddie, they were on Hard Knocks that year, right? Is that I think I don't have HBO, so I don't watch these things. I'm a loser. So they end up deciding to go with Todd Monken. It seems like he and Jim Schwartz were the finalists. Jim Schwartz was none too pleased to get passed over for the job. But the thinking, I believe at the time, and the discussion was, we need somebody who can make our offense work. We've got a good defense. We'd like to actually retain Jim. He's under contract. But we need someone to kind of fix this offense, develop the quarterback. So, because at that point, you've got Shedeur, Dillon, and in the background is Deshaun Watson. We all know Deshaun Watson's contract is pretty much makes it prohibitive from being able to move on from him until he is a post June 1st cut, net 2027. So he's going to be here. No one's taking on his contract. And you can't do anything because you're going to ruin the salary cap. You can't even, it's going to be difficult to field players. And it's going to mess up things for the future. Did you guys kind of see or hear any of the interviews that J.W. Johnson did? Like he came on ESPN Cleveland in the spring. And I guess he was foreshadowing what might occur, where Deshaun Watson stood. Mike, did you happen to remember hearing any of that, or had you seen any of those clips just in the past few weeks maybe pop back up?
Yeah, he kind of suggested it was going to be like a fair competition, right? Pretty much.
Right, and I think most of us were thinking, huh? What? After Jimmy Haslam had come out,
swing and a miss.
Said it was did he say a giant swing and a miss? I think he used the word giant. That's okay. But then apparently he went to his wedding. So, hey, whatever. That's cool. I mean, Megan, did you happen to hear any of those interviews? And were kind of, when the season started approaching and things started kind of coming a little bit more into focus, did you think that we'd be hearing today that they would be announcing Deshaun Watson as our week 1 starter?
No, not at all. I mean, when you have the owner of the team making such a, I mean, that's kind of a derogatory comment, like a big swing and a miss. Like
it's pretty bold, and it's strong.
And it's, you're thinking, all right, well, finally they've opened their eyes and they've accepted their fate. And it seems by that statement that they're moving on from this individual.
Right. And
they're content with it,
Yes.
Like they're okay, like this is on
we're going to have to eat this.
Right.
We made this mess.
And I do remember, I think like he's like, we understand the fans are like frustrated and and you're like, all right, finally, like.
Right. Because as fans, so this is a little bit, I wanted to take a moment here. I want to go in the Wayback Machine, right? And we're gonna go back in time here. Time warp. Who do you blame for where the Browns currently sit on the cusp of this season? And I wonder if you'll guess my answer here. But I would like to, we're taking a Wayback Machine. And we're looking at where we're at now. So let's look back to how we got here. Who should we as fans maybe point to and blame for this? Any guesses?
I mean, I think it was I think it was Jimmy Haslam.
Okay, all right, that's one guess, but I'm gonna go a step further. Mike, do you got a guess?
Don't know, but I saw a tweet circulating from when I think it was Adam Schefter tweeted back in 20, whenever it was, saying that the Browns have been told that they're no longer in the race for Shedeur. Not for Shedeur,
for Deshaun. Yeah.
Deshaun. And it's like, no is no. Like, imagine if they had just moved away from it. Like,
right. Well, I'm going to go a little bit different direction.
I do think it's like ownership. Like,
nope. I'm going to tell you who we blame for this. Anthony Schwartz. This is his fault. If Anthony Schwartz doesn't pull up short on a pass, then it's not intercepted, and Baker Mayfield isn't trying to tackle a guy. He doesn't get injured. The whole course of history was changed by that one play, right? Baker was playing well that season. The Browns are coming off of a playoff appearance. They're playing well, and we knew his limitations. And it seemed as if when they said they were on a 6-month odyssey, and when they researched or however many months researching before even the end of that season, when they were thinking about a contract for Baker, and they ended up starting researching Deshaun, who was busy sitting on the bench in Houston because they got issues. He's got issues with them. They've got issues with him. All kinds of crazy stuff going on there. So I'm just gonna go back and say, Anthony Schwartz, you are to blame for this. I'm just gonna say it. And I think he's which soccer squad does he like? He's not a Tottenham fan. Is he like Man U or Arsenal?
I can't remember.
I don't know, but he likes one of these other bum squads. So I'm going to blame him on this one. But so fast forwarding now, last year in training camp, it was pretty clear that Shedeur Sanders, he was drafted in the 5th round, and there was a lot of scuttlebutt about that. Where should he have been picked? We also picked up the Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, but Shedeur Sanders did not get. He was 4th on the depth chart, so he was not getting the reps. It's kind of like Kalen Green this year. He's not. He just didn't get the reps, and so we had to wonder about his development. But obviously, he ends up being in there, and he plays, and he ends up being the starting quarterback at the end of the year, and he ends it well. I would have to wonder what the discussion was when the Browns were interviewing coaching candidates, and when they talked about the quarterback situation. And also, just to point out, do you guys remember when they convinced Myles Garrett to sign a new contract? And there was a question of like, do you know what the quarterback plan is? And I think they love playing the clip. I can't say that, or something like that. Even and it's like the funniest clip at the time. But I wonder how much this was discussed with Todd Monken and other people like Udinsky or Schilhaas or anybody else that might have interviewed. And I wonder if they were thinking, okay, we're going to be trying to develop Shedeur. We're going to be going after a quarterback. This is a multi-year plan. We might have Watson back. I wonder how that conversation went. And at least as far as we were led to believe, Todd Monken said something like, when we were in Baltimore, whether he was saying it just to say it, we wanted to draft Shedeur, but Shedeur told Baltimore, don't draft me, because he wanted to play. And quite honestly, this is the best situation for him to be able to play. The other places he might play are some other terrible places that have a major quarterback problem of their own, such as New York or the Cardinals, maybe. We talked about a few of these places, but
Cardinals, they have about 6 fans, according to Goldhammer.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I think Arizona seems like a good place to go and retire, right? Although I don't. They've got a lot of good hiking there, mountains, right, Megan? It seems like it's like I'm not much of a nature person. I try to stay insulated from bugs, snakes, and anything of that nature. Just we're going to steer clear of that. Monken has said that this is his decision. Andrew Berry said on the broadcast, yeah, it's Monken's decision. Here's my question to you guys. Is Monken setting himself up to possibly be the fall guy if things go sideways this season? Or do you think there's some sort of maybe agreement, a gentleman's agreement, an understanding that there's going to be some leeway knowing the circumstances. And I mean, Megan, do you think he's kind of putting himself in a tough spot?
I think no matter who the coach is of the Cleveland Browns, they're always going to be the fall guy.
Yeah, I think that's just the way
Because
the corporate
look
world
at
works,
how
right?
everything is panned out. It's all and if it was his decision, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't like add up almost. Like I'm just like
That's
I'm
what
still very baffled by this whole thing. And if it was his decision, then he should have just came out and said at the beginning of camp,
right?
"Hey,
And
you know what? It's going to be Deshaun Watson, and it is what it is." Like,
right,
why if he was going to be the starter, like why do you have him play in the third quarter of a preseason
right,
game?
because it sounds like and I think that question was maybe not posed to him, but they were talking about it on ESPN Cleveland after the press conference because they're like, you already knew. He said the game didn't change anything for him.
I just don't see
that doesn't make any sense.
I
that
don't
risks
see
an injury.
anything in what he has done that you would go, you know what? He played really well. He did this.
Yeah,
like that first game, I didn't think he played well.
It looked
he checked down to every single check down there was.
Right. The stat line looked better than it actually was when we watched. If you looked, a number of passes were still behind guys and off target. And as soon as the Bears started getting some pressure, he didn't
look comfortable.
He didn't. He did not look comfortable.
And whatever. I mean, it's not going to change anything. Obviously, the decision's been made, and we're all up in arms, and we're all ticked off, and
right. And I think that they have to. I certainly hope after Saturday, and the fans, when you're talking, and they were talking about this today. You had maybe 20,000 people there, half of which were Bills fans, and it had rained and it was terrible. But they waited till the third quarter, and immediately they were on, and they were booing Deshaun Watson. And then every play magnified that. And they said as much that, like, look, you don't want him to boo. I do like Todd Monken for saying this. You don't want him to boo. Play better.
Yeah.
Win games. He knows the deal. And what really got me, and this is just my personal opinion. Some, people might think I'm crazy or not. What bothers me, and I'm going to play the clip here from the post-game press conference from Deshaun, is that he tried to say that the fans were booing because of stuff other than football. Well, you're right and you're wrong. Okay? This has to do with your play, and it has to do with what you represent to this team and where we are right now. In the fact that we had
done some pretty crappy things.
Right. There's some things there were some things that he was that he had his legal troubles.
Right.
And things that were done. And so, but I do think that most of the fans who are booing are not booing for that reason.
No.
They are booing because they are mad about the current status of their team and the fact that we have such a hole. We had to let people go, and we traded Myles Garrett, arguably the best defensive player in the league. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Just set the sack record. I know I'm happy we got Jared Verse, to be quite honest. I think we got a good deal out of that, and I think he'll be very helpful. But just putting it all in perspective, the fact that he was that unaware, okay? So I'm going to play this clip here real quick. I think it got one of his questions and one of his answers. So let me play this here and just kind of point out the ridiculousness. And let me know if you can't hear this, guys.
Obviously, we had talked to you about before the game, like how you might respond to whatever kind of reaction you might see with some booze up there. What was your kind of reaction?
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is, I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows. It has nothing to do about the performance. It's
what? What? Okay, continuing. I'll just leave it with that.
It's a little bit personal than that. So I think that's it's a disrespectful thing.
Okay. So actually, let me ask this because we just had this discussion. Mike, you may not have known about this, but you might have seen it in recent weeks. That they've kind of pulled this up. The Browns have had a love-hate history with quarterbacks and injuries when they're none too pleased with them. Tim Couch, Derek Anderson. Do you recall those moments, Megan?
I do.
So if you're to say that it's not about your performance, you have no idea. You are clueless. Absolutely clueless. So just keeping that in mind.
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that. And yeah, just move on.
So are you really keeping it internal? Because you're talking about it and you're making it a point. You're making it a thing. All right. So I'm just going to go to the next question here.
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles. And that same fan base, they cheered.
Okay. That same fan base. So he's making it sound as if the entirety of the stadium was cheering when he got carted off. From what I understand, it might have been a smattering of people. Also, were we playing the Bengals? What colors do they have? How would he know who it was? That is ridiculous. Stop! Don't make such a broad statement about the fan base. That's rude and unreasonable right there. That's disrespectful. Okay. And we'll get to his comments today.
I got hurt. So does that have to do with what does that have to do with anything about performance? When a person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
Does any of that make you regret coming here?
No, I don't regret anything in my life. I think the Lord put me through situations for a reason. So
okay,
I don't regret anything.
Okay, that right there was what blew my mind. So first of all, Drew, thank you from Myrtle Beach chiming in. We appreciate it as always. Sorry you can't be here. Drew was at the game playing the Bengals, and it was only a few people cheering when the injury occurred. He was at the game. Okay, so first of all, that whole thing. It seems like it was on his mind and it's been festering and he's let it fester. And I think that's a problem because it's a mental issue just as much as it's been a physical issue. Don't you guys think it's been a mental issue in his game? It sure appears to. But no, I don't regret anything in my life. I think the Lord put me through situations for a reason. So I don't regret anything at all. He goes on, and at that part, at that point, I was ready to throw something. But I had different thoughts on how it was going to be. But it is what it is. Sometimes the tables turn. And I'm patient enough because I'm a child of God to wait for that time to change. So I'm not tripping on it. Okay. And here's another part Drew points out. People weren't really even cheering for the injury. They were cheering that they didn't have to watch him play. Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty much it. But we just talked about, Megan, you pointed out correctly, he came with a lot of baggage to Cleveland, including some rather harsh or, unseemly allegations. Which he settled in civil suits. That obviously it
came
didn't
with a lot of baggage, and then he didn't do anything when he got
right.
it.
So
if he would have came. I mean, listen, I get it. You got hurt, and that sucks. But you weren't good. You haven't been
especially
good.
Then.
You've been good for 2 games. Like what was the game? Against the Ravens and then the Titans.
Right, and he really was good for like 1/2 against the Ravens.
Yeah.
I saw him, so as we recall, the timeline, he gets suspended for 12 weeks, missed the first 11 games of his first season here. We thought it. I think the owners thought it was going, and the front office thought it would only be 6, but they boosted it because of the number and the allegations and everything of that nature. I
He
saw him
came
in
back, and they opened up against Dallas. Remember?
right. The next season they opened against Dallas, and they were
He
terrible.
was abysmal in that game.
Right. And so if you recall, also the game in Houston, which was his first game back, he was throwing the ball into the ground. He was trying to short hop it like a Gabriel Arias throw to the first baseman. And Mike, I knew I'd get you to laugh on that one. But it was crazy. But I think a lot of that was mental. But the problem is that never really got solved. It continues to be the problem. How many times does he throw it into the dirt in front, buddy? Did you guys see
the other day?
Right.
Right in the foot of the guy.
Right. And did you guys see, and this was kind of crazy, this afternoon.
I know where you're going now.
Yeah. Right after all these press conferences on the practice field, there's a reporter there, and she's recording, and he throws the ball to no one. It's like coming to the reporter. I'm like, and then he overthrows Judy, and he gets should have been intercepted by D'Angelo Ross, was it Ross? Yeah, D'Angelo Ross, right?
I don't know.
I can't.
I was just so like,
but it was hilarious because we just anointed this guy starter for week 1, and here it is again, and it's all the same things, and that's actually the problem. Look, they've said it elsewhere, but winning quiets a lot of this stuff. Was Ben Roethlisberger the greatest person ever?
No.
But did Pittsburgh remember him for whatever allegations? No, they remembered him for winning.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, everyone made that guy out to be a saint. He faced some very serious charges in Eagle, Colorado, right? I think it was Eagle. And by the end, no one seemed to remember that. Like, what? Robert Kraft. We're going to talk about that. What about, hey, what's that, York? For the 49ers today getting arrested on solicitation?
No.
I mean, the owner. Are we kidding me? So, if he had played well, that would have quieted things.
Yeah.
I went to the game. A few weeks in that season where he got injured in Baltimore. I went to the game where they played against Arizona, and he wasn't great, but Arizona was horrible. They had Clayton Tune, Kyler Murray wasn't playing, and they were abysmal. I think we shut them out like 27-0. Problem was those moments were fleeting. They were far and fleeting, and that's really where he needs to understand it. It's not a personal thing. Exactly. It's more. If you're looking for the noise, Megan,
I didn't know if it was my dog or someone else's dog. I was like, "Are you okay?" My dog's laying right here, and I'm just like,
my
"Are you
dog
okay?"
is asleep.
do you like? So Mike's dog Newt is a star on this show.
Gotcha.
He is a star of snoring.
I was just like, is this my dog or someone else's dog?
That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. But the fact of the matter is he has left a lot. Deshaun Watson has left a lot to be desired out on the field. And by the time he was playing and in that game, he was actually having a pretty decent game that day against Cincinnati. But again, it was a lot of inconsistencies in the injury. So it was the shoulder the season before. And actually, remember in that game, he also got hit and it was like his ankle. And then it comes out that it's his shoulder and he's done for the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I will honestly tell you, for all of the allegations, I was willing to at least kind of go, maybe I need to think about, I don't know. But all right, I'm watching the football here. You think about some of the other clowns we've had in town. Johnny Manziel. I had bought my kids like some shirts. I said, nope, you're not wearing these things or giving these to Goodwill. This guy's a Billy Manziel out there and whatever he does. So, yeah, it's not been great, to say the least. So you've got this Deshaun Watson situation where he is coming out and he says all this craziness. And were you guys both thinking at that point, there is no way they're naming him the starting quarterback? he is mentally not able to handle this. The booing of a small crowd. You want to see it get bad? You want to see it get ugly when it's a full stadium and it goes sideways?
Right. I mean, in the back of my head, I was thinking, I mean, you're coming out and attacking your home fans.
Yeah.
And you're just like your butt hurt over something.
Right.
And like it doesn't really scream like I'm a leader of this team of just shut up and play.
Right. No, and I think that
So,
Todd
and then it it was a little discouraging. I think someone, I don't know who asked Monken, but they said, will his comments have any sort of weight on your decision?
Yes. Todd, just wondering. Deshaun's post-game this was the opener yesterday on a Zoom call. This would be yesterday being Sunday. Deshaun Watson's post-game press conferences. How does that impact your decision on the starting quarterback? And when do you anticipate making it? It does not, and I anticipate making it tomorrow. And I think they even asked him again, but he said none. It's not going to change it. And I think that goes to what you talked about earlier, Megan. The decision, he already knew what his decision was. So
I think there's been a plan since.
And that goes back to the J.W. Johnson discussion.
Yeah. And I think it's just been.
Okay. So all that
I think too, like we all discussed it. We all said like it's going to be Watson. It's going to be, but
after that, you're like,
but after the performance that he put out, you're just like, geez Louise, like,
right. You're
this isn't some great caliber quarterback. Like, I don't want.
You're thinking to yourself, he is not showing that he is any better now than he was prior to more injuries. The guy in 5 seasons, so 4 with the Browns and the 1 season that he didn't play at all in Houston, he's played 19 games in 5 years, in 5 football seasons. He is now 30 years old. You mean to tell me you stopped doing an activity for that long, and as you get older, your physical capacities don't slow down? And to try to process as quickly as you need to. I know it's kind of like when you get older, you can see all the things and you know it, but you can't react as quickly as you did when you were younger. 30 is not that old, but in football years, it gets you. It comes on you quickly.
I'd love to pose this question.
Absolutely.
So, if it was Monken's decision, which he claims that it was, and he made this decision, is he going to have the balls to make the decision if Watson plays like crap in these next, let's say, 2 games, to yank him out?
Actually, that's Mike, do you want to answer? I'll let you answer, because I don't want to steal, be a Mike hog here. But Mike, do you want to give your opinion on that? Do you think he'll have the fortitude to make that difficult decision?
The thing is, if it's his decision, can he really afford to start the season like 0-4 by leaving Watson in the team? Like,
it's in his best.
Do we think we could have a Baker Jets situation where he comes in at halftime, the first home game of the season, and ends up just being the quarterback for like the rest of the season?
Yep. And
because Watson plays so bad in the first half of the first
game, yes.
That is
exact. Yep, they give him the 2 games on the road, I think, and so I want to actually Megan, you guys are reading my mind. Am I that transparent? Or can you see the reflection of the notes on my other screen here? I don't see how you're doing this because you're asking the questions that I've got here, or maybe it's just so I don't even know. But yes, I do think he will make that difficult decision. This guy, this is his first time as a head coach in the NFL. He's got to make it count, right? And that's why I was kind of scratching my head. Maybe it's a thing where, and this goes to your question, Megan. Do you think there was some undue pressure? Like, look, start Watson. If it doesn't go well, we can pull him. No problem. If it does, all right, great. But maybe they kind of knew. And he's like, all right, I'll capitulate to that. Because he's still bringing Shedeur up his learning curve. And I understand it because it's hard to go from college to the pros.
Yeah.
And it's hard to learn an entirely new system. I mean, I would have expected Deshaun Watson to be ahead when it comes to all of the installation and those types of things. But Shedeur he puts in the work as far as I can tell. He's not doing a Manziel. 0.
Right.
You know? So my question is this. Let's say actually in game number 2, you realize where they play in game number 2, right, guys?
It's Baker, isn't it?
Where is it?
They're in Tampa. They play the Bucks against Baker.
Jesus
Baker
Christ.
versus Deshaun, week 2.
Gee.
Okay, here's my question for you. If Baker Mayfield leads the Buccaneers to a thorough butt whooping of the Browns and embarrasses them. Now, granted, he's on the other side. He's not playing defense. But it makes it so that you can't hide. Like, the offense's performance is abysmal, and he takes advantage of every turnover or whatever it is, and they kick the snot out of us. Should we as fans decide to put a statue of Baker Mayfield at Cleveland Browns, at Huntington Bank Field?
As long as Nick Chubb gets one first.
Okay, that is fair. I think they're probably going to put that out in Brook Park. Did the NFL? Do you think? And I have no idea. This is a tinfoil hat moment for me. I like to have my tinfoil hat. I'm a big Reynolds Wrap type of person. Did the NFL maybe knowingly do the Browns a solid by putting their first 2 games on the road? Did it's a conspiracy theory. Do you think that there was any thought process that maybe the front office spoke to him and said, "Hey guys, you can put us on the road. No problem. We're good with that, right? Because then we've got a period of 4 games in 5 weeks at home consecutive."
But didn't Zach say for the 4 games in 5 weeks, the reason they've done that is because the Browns were going to play in Paris?
Yeah, they did. They did. But
they then revoked it, and then
right. But nevertheless, you're right, Mike. And and I don't want to forget. Actually, saw Zach Jackson post this morning about an hour after the announcement. He posts, "All right, guys. First of all, he's hilarious. I won't even go into his funny joke because he said, note to you, Browns, the people are not laughing with you; they are laughing at you." He said, "But let me ask you, if the Starbucks at the Giant Eagle in Green, what was it? It's a sports book. What's the over/under on the number of quarters that Deshaun Watson plays?" I'm going over/under 10.5.
That's the number I was going to just give.
That's exactly what you said, Mike.
I was going to say 10.5. So.
10.5, because it's possible if things, let's say even the games are mediocre in the first 2 weeks, but then he comes out and it's just a disaster. Couldn't that be a reason that Monken could find a reason to pull him? I mean, save the guy. I got to be honest. I mean, I couldn't imagine if I was not doing well at my job and people booed me. Like, I don't know how I'd react. I'd be like, oh my, like if I was doing my announcing and someone came up to me, "Boo, you are awful. You stink." I don't know how I'd be able to go on.
Yeah, but I bet if you were getting his paycheck, you could care less.
I might. That's a possibility, and that's a great point. That's an absolute great point. So, let's see here. Now, the other thing that bugged me today when they were asking about, I'm not going to get, Todd talked and kind of to me, it went round in circles. They asked him, he said they were very close. And he said, well, whatever it is, he's saying the things that we aren't seeing is stuff that's on film and it's things in the building, which is quite possible. If things are going on in the classroom and they think that Deshaun's picking up on this or that, and they think it'll give him a better chance, great. But I don't see it. Because one of the things they harped on is cadence, operations, in and out of the huddle, everything. Seemed like he did pretty well on Saturday. And then, in my opinion, you look at what Sanders did with that same group in his third quarter in Chicago versus what Deshaun did with that group at home against Buffalo, I feel as though there's enough there to show that Sanders did better. But I think it's biding his time. It feels like it's playing the long game. The one thing I wanted to get to here is Deshaun's opening statement today. So let me just play this here because I got some issues.
So if I want to address the comments from Saturday after the game, I think just, human nature, just myself being very emotional, putting a lot of time these last 2 years to, get back and, spend time in this facility, in the city, meeting a lot of different people in the community. I thought I was going to get, a little different response, but, I think, my emotions got the best of me. And, my comments wasn't intending to go at any of the fans around in the city, because there's been a lot of great fans that have been supporting me. And I know.
So wait, it wasn't meant to go to the fans that are around the city. Are you saying that those are different than the people that are in the stands? That's still offensive. You can't say that, right? I don't know who prepared this this statement, but that you got to look at what that was just said, and I'm diagnosing it, and that's a problem. All right, moving on.
I know the frustration this organization have put, a lot of
darn right
and coming, to get me back in 22, and they haven't been going the right direction that we thought it was. A lot of injuries, a lot of time off, and not been the best football and my foot forward. So again, just I understand the frustration. I understand everything that kind of goes into that. And moving forward, I just want to focus on football, making sure that I'm putting the best product out there, having the best ability. Because I thrive off the energy. I thrive off the energy of the fans. I thrive off the energy of the community. I thrive off all that stuff. I think looking back in my history at Clemson and previous at the Houston organization, I was a big community guy, big city guy, big fan guy. During the game. So. Again, my emotions got the best of me. I'm human. I take full responsibility of that.
So he takes full responsibility. That's not saying I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
Never once does he say I'm sorry. I handled myself very poorly. All he has to add, he has to change the wording a little bit. Someone should have proofread this. Okay. Should have had a written statement, and he should have, so that he could say it without accidentally, and maybe he means it. And so I'm being a little bit harsh. I'm just kind of nitpicking here, right?
And, just moving forward, I want to make sure that I put the best product for the team, for the organization, and for the city, so we can put a lot of wins and make sure that I celebrate and put Cleveland on the map.
Put Cleveland on the map. What the heck does that mean? We're not on the map?
Cleveland on the map for the wrong reasons. Like, seriously.
Right. Okay. That's just ridiculous.
And that's why I put the helmet on my head and I put the uniform on my body, is to go out there and make sure I put my best foot forward. And that was one of the reasons why I chose this city, is to come and have a lot of wins with this community, with the city, and make sure that we, on the right track, so we can have a lot of, celebrations and a lot of excitement to go each and every Sunday. So again, moving forward, I just want to make sure that, I can give the city something to, think about, in the first two games, and when we come back home, that we have something to cheer about and we can celebrate and go do what we want to do, and that's achieve the ultimate goal and go win and be a champion.
All right, why did he come to Cleveland?
Because there was a guaranteed contract.
Thank you. That is what drove me nuts. You are so full. If he's convinced himself of that, because, do you know how it is with some people? You can convince the Costanza move. It's not a lie if you believe it. Mike, I'm sorry, I'm making Seinfeld references here if you don't know, but it's not a lie if you believe it. If he's convinced himself that that's why he came to Cleveland, fine. All more power to him. But we all know the history. He and his representatives said no to the Browns. They were out. And they went back to him with the bag of money. A guaranteed contract, a fully guaranteed contract. blew up the whole quarterback market, and it was nuts. It's still nuts.
Who were the other two teams that wanted him? Was it the Saints one and like?
That was definitely the Falcons, and it
And the
seemed like
Falcons.
that's where he was going to end up.
Falcons and Saints were there or something.
I believe you're correct. So there were numerous. So that's also another thing. I just want people to realize. Do you seem to feel like, just because Cleveland ended up getting him, that Cleveland wrongly gets pointed at as this joke when there were numerous other teams that were interested in bringing him on and having serious conversations? I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, but we don't know what those teams were offering him, you know?
Sure.
So, like, I could just see the bonehead move of out of being desperate. You go, well, you know what? We're just going to give you a fully guaranteed contract of this amount, and you come here.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. I do not begrudge him for accepting that. Okay? Someone gives you that offer, you're like, okay, here I come. First, hey, man, I'm in.
And they did that knowing that he was most likely going to be suspended. And you're just like, what are we doing?
Right. And again, this goes back to Anthony Schwartz. It's all Anthony Schwartz's fault.
Okay.
See, if he doesn't get injured, Baker doesn't try and play hurt and try and play hero ball, maybe he's still here. Maybe we don't make that move.
Any chance that Baker comes back next year?
Mike, you know what? The only thing more ridiculous than that, let me tell you guys something. So,
free agent after this season, probably.
Yeah, he's having more problems in Tampa, and he's running into a similar scenario where last year he started out great. He gets banged up, and he doesn't want to take time off and miss games, and then his play curtails. And now they're like, we're not going to be paying you $50 million, whatever it is you think the top dollar is. We're just not going to do it. So it's kind of crazy when you think about how these things all happen. But I don't. That statement to me, the two problems I have are two big problems that came to my mind. Are one, to me, it's not an apology. An apology starts with "I'm sorry." It comes with being self-aware, accepting responsibility. He made an excuse because he was emotional. Okay, that doesn't change it. I could be emotional and yell at my kids. Did it make it right? No. I was wrong. I should not have lashed out like that. I have to take on the responsibility as an athlete to control myself. I mean, Albert Bell threw that baseball at a guy back at Cleveland Stadium. And like there were pictures. Didn't you remember? Like you could see the seams of the baseball on his stomach where he hit him with the ball. So you can't do that. You can't Ron Artest it. There's no malice at the palace. You have to control yourself. That is troubling for me. And he needs to be a better leader.
And the funny thing is, if he plays well, 1 and 2, and lights it up at our home opener, it all changes.
It does.
He'll have everybody in that stadium behind him.
Right.
That's how quick it'll change.
It is.
If you continue to do good and you continue to win, the city will change
We love our Browns.
Oh my gosh, Deshaun, it would be complete opposite. And that's all you have to do.
It is.
It's not complicated, but don't come at the fans.
Right.
Who do nothing but support
this team
and what you've put us through.
Right. Yeah. It's just it's been tough, and I think he acknowledges. I understand it's frustrating, but you can't do that. And really, if I were someone, honest, this is not just a him thing. Nudist board is crap with us, but it's not just a him thing. It's a lot of public speaking and how people address the media. And you really sometimes, I know you don't want to pause too much when you're speaking, but you need to think about how you say things and how they may come across or be interpreted, and be very careful about it. I've got a big mouth. I'll just say it. and I have this this disease. It's called foot and mouth disease, because I open my big fat mouth and put my foot in it quite often. So I get it. I really do. I think that, and I don't want to kind of take away from this, and I think we've all kind of made it known that where we stand on this. I think for all of us, would I be correct that we would have preferred Shedeur Sanders to be named the starter? And I guess my question is, do we believe that Deshaun Watson will keep the starting job for the entirety of the season? No, Megan, you don't believe so?
I don't think so. I think two things.
Yes.
I think one, he'll probably get injured at some point.
Yeah, it's quite possible he has been injury prone.
Two, well, maybe three things. Two, I think that he is such a basket case up here.
It appears so.
When things go downhill in a game, I almost think he takes himself out of that game of like, oh, I'm hurt, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
not like faking an injury, but kind of teetering on like this
psychosomatic.
Like, yeah, we're just like, I think there was that game. Was it against the Colts or something?
I know. Yes, it was.
And remember, like, he was like awful, and he was gimping around, and he took himself out of the game. I think
Kevin took him out.
Kevin took him out.
He's to save him. And PJ Walker and Myles Garrett saved the day, box jumping and
and like, and I think it's up here, or I think he'll just be so terrible that Monken won't have any choice but to start the kid. He'll have to start Sanders.
Right. I kind of think that. Mike, are you thinking the same type of thing?
I totally agree. I don't even think he'll be a backup by the end of the year. I think he'll probably get injured, to be fair. But is there any chance he gets pulled in the first game? Like, if he goes out in the first half and throws like 2 or 3 interceptions, do we think Todd could actually pull him like during the first game?
I don't know that he would do it in the first game. It would depend. It really would. I'll wait and see. Drew comments also, I really believe that this was a front office decision, not a Monken decision. And that's a theory that I have. I was talking to Jacob about it, my son. He seems to believe that this was not a front office decision. I tend to lean that even though he says it's his decision and Andrew says it's his decision, we argued about whose decision it was on quarterbacks when Kevin was here. Did we not?
If he wasn't guaranteed full control of the quarterback's room, with this being his first head coach job, do you really think he would have taken it?
Right. I don't know, because it doesn't come. You don't get many opportunities.
Right.
So maybe he's like, all right, I'll deal with it. Because here's the situation. One, to kind of digress a little bit there. One, I don't believe he will keep the starting job all season. And it whether it be by injury or poor play, there's going to come a point where they will make a switch. And here's the thing that you pointed out before we started, Mike.
We've got Pittsburgh week 4 and Thursday night football.
Right, on Thursday night football.
Do you think he's going to survive that if he's playing poorly?
Right. That's going to be very difficult in a national audience. And I think that there's a possibility, again, Jacob was telling me someone he follows who does a lot of stuff said he would think it might be after that, because then you have a long week before the next one, or a long break.
Aren't we unbeaten at home against them since like Big Ben's left as well or something?
No, well, we beat them last year.
Yeah, I mean, we're unbeaten against them.
Oh, unbeaten. I'm sorry. Maybe because maybe it's quite possible because they've had terrible quarterbacks like Mason Hodges or Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges and gosh knows who else, and Aaron Rodgers last year, who was throwing to the receiver against Denzel Ward and trying to get rid of it quickly so he didn't give up the sack record to Miles, which was ridiculous. I just think that at some point we will see a change, and I think it's going to be at a point where so he says the Pittsburgh game makes me believe that Watson only has the first 2 weeks to prove himself before they throw in Sanders. Okay, so Pittsburgh is week 4. Okay. I feel like they also need to figure out what they have in Sanders, guys, right? If Deshaun Watson, as you said, Mike, in all likelihood, due to financial ramifications and what he might want, he's likely not going to be here next year. And Shedeur Sanders is on a rookie contract still. And if you need to know if he's good enough, do you think in any way that the fact that he couldn't, and I'm throwing it out there as kind of an argument people have put out there, this guy couldn't beat out a person who's had all these injuries, has barely played. He couldn't beat this guy out. Is that kind of, should that be the narrative, or should it be the other way around? That Deshaun Watson, who's a veteran, was struggling to hold off a person who many said doesn't belong or wasn't good enough. I mean, I kind of see it more on the side of Deshaun not being. All right, Drew. I don't know what you're doing down there. Go mini golf. Tank for Tua, or just kidding, tank for Manning. March for Arch. I feel like it's more of an indictment on Deshaun that he was struggling to beat out Shedeur, considering what everybody said was his limitations, and I don't get it. But best case scenario, guys, you tell me if I'm wrong. I think one way or another, you have to find out. The best case scenario is that Sanders is the dude, ends up coming in, and he is the dude. You've got good draft picks next year. You don't have to spend it on a quarterback. Next best, the second best is Sanders is not the dude. We have a high draft pick, and we go after a quarterback. Are those kind of the best options and results? Mike?
Yeah, sadly.
It's tough. I don't see a world. I'm just being honest. Based upon what we've seen, it would be great. It would be a comeback player of the year story if Deshaun Watson somehow found his whatever it was.
I don't
would be
even wish
amazing.
poorly. Like, it's not like I'm here like, oh, I hope he does bad. Like, I'm all like, prove
We
us
want to
all
win.
wrong.
We want to win. We love the Browns.
I don't care who is it. Just win.
Right.
Play good and win games. And
yep.
You know what? Like, I'm not gonna wish like, oh, I hope he gets his head knocked off like week one.
But what do you do in 2027 then if he does actually play well? Because you're not going to keep him.
You're not going to keep him.
And you screw your draft position's going to be terrible.
Well, but that's the thing. That's what they're telling us. They're not worried about that. And Andrew Berry actually said, well, there's a possibility. I don't see it. But I'm just saying, from everything we have seen, and we also know that this team is young. It's got some very good core pieces, but they are thin. The depth is not there. So, all in all, it could be a rocky season. This is just the beginning. I'm going to be watching. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to watch a lot of college football on Saturdays. Hey, Megan, did you enter to be the offensive coordinator for the Zips?
No, I didn't.
You should have.
They pick tomorrow.
Oh, that's amazing.
Tomorrow's the pick.
I hope it's not somebody, that big cat guy.
Yeah.
I hope it's someone who, honestly, I don't want it to be some celebrity person or so. They say it's on the up and up, but isn't that crazy how much press they've gotten from that?
I know, it's like over like 2 billion impressions.
That's unreal. Mike, you should have applied. But you had to buy season tickets.
I don't know if the quarterback ends up throwing like a pick six.
Well, that's the opening series.
On the opening drive.
Well, we've seen that before, haven't we? A few times by both Baker and Deshaun. They were both very good in Pittsburgh. I think they each did that in their first appearances for the Browns in Pittsburgh. Beautiful stuff. Just love that. So, guys, we have done this for a while. It's been a difficult day. I know I kind of went berserk earlier, and
same.
But it is, and so I should. So let me do what I feel. Deshaun, I should apologize for going crazy and lashing out and wishing to fire the coach and saying that Deshaun Watson sucks. right? That's not a very adult way of handling it. I can voice my opinions like we're talking here.
I did like your hashtags though.
Did you like those? I told you, Megan, did I tell you I would do that? I was kind of pissed, right? And I've been up since 3 a.m. That wasn't the right thing to do. That's not the best way to handle it. And fighting with people online, of course, thankfully, I guess I didn't get into any fights, which is good. I probably should shut my mouth because I've got that foot in mouth disease, right? It's been frustrating to be a Browns fan. And to want to win, and obviously, each of us has our own links to it, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it means a lot to see them play well, and we want to see them win and celebrate in the city the way we celebrated in 2016 for the Cavs, and we're 1 game away for the Indians at the time, and it hasn't been that close since the Browns were playing in Mile High, in the AFC Championship 2 years in a row, and even 3 out of 4. We haven't been close. So it's been rough. So I should apologize and be the adult here and accept my own criticism and say, hey, these people are doing their job. Chill the heck out. They didn't do anything to me personally, although I've been put through a lot watching these games. Not gonna lie. So anyway, guys, I really want to thank you, and if you have anything that you'd like to add, I'd love to let you do that because I don't want to. I've been a microphone hog here.
I have nothing, but go Browns.
I do sincerely hope though that the leash is really, really short.
Yeah,
that as well. I hope that there is. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Because didn't Todd Monken say today it's not going to be week to week?
He said it's not going to be week to week, but he did note that for every player, if you don't play well enough, you're not playing. He's trying to might be his only shot, guys.
Which is why I don't think he would have taken the job if ownership had the main power on the quarterback.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a heck of a season. I always look forward to the season for a variety of reasons, and it's home for me. It's home for me, being 500 miles away and sitting down and watching with my son. It's home for me. And Mike, you're across the pond. You're 5,000 miles away. Yet you've adopted this sorry-ass city.
Did you go to a game last year?
Last year, did I get to a game? Yes. Wait, no, that wasn't last year. We went to the game. I went to the game against the Commanders when we got absolutely destroyed. That was when Watson was playing. That was the season he got injured. But no, I don't think there were any games close to us last year.
Because I went to the London game against.
That's right. Yeah, you were there, and yeah, you were there. And you saw Aaron Goldhammer spill water during the morning show at the bar. But yeah, I don't know. So Megan, let's see. Will you be there on Thursday for the?
No, I won't be there.
Yeah, I mean they got the preseason. They're playing against the Patriots. Wait a second. We let Mike Vrabel leave the building. What would have happened, guys, if Mike Vrabel was still here and that stuff with Diana Rossini broke?
Could you imagine?
Be the most Browns thing.
It would be. And that's the thing. People lost their mind that we didn't go stay. He wasn't going to stay here. He knew Robert Kraft was going to give him a position. And if he'd have been here and that would have come up, only in Cleveland. I don't know, man.
The only way we could have got Vrabel to come and stay here is if we gave him shed loads of money.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. No, I do sincerely hope, though, just my thought as a salesperson, or having that in mind, maybe let's not try and talk to people about putting down money for PSLs and suites for a couple days here. Let's let things simmer down, calm down.
Isn't that start of September?
I don't know. It's supposed to start soon, very soon. So we'll see. But I am looking forward to Brook Park. Maybe, at least I won't have to worry about the weather when I go there and wondering if I'm going to be in the rain or snow or whatever inclement weather. But guys, thank you so much for this evening. I think that it was good to hash this out and talk it out and work through all of this. Megan, thank you as always. We appreciate you. We love you. And
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a good time.
absolutely, Mike, thank you very much as well. Go Guardians, enjoy the game, and don't stay up too late there, sir. I mean, since it is now almost 4 a.m.
Something like that, about that.
Yeah, 10 till 4 there. That's good. It's good for him. Got to get some beauty sleep here. So for Megan Donovan, for Mike Pellegrini, I'm Ethan Greenberg. You've been tuned in to Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the Land right here, part of the Land Multimedia Group.